Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ring Ready Live, the home of the owner handler, brought to you by Showsite Magazine. I'm Dan Sayers with Showsite, here once again with Lee Whittier, the dog show mentor. Lee, can you believe this is our 30th episode of Ring Ready Live?
And we are just getting started.
We are. Can you believe it was 30 weeks ago when we first stood on opposite ends of the continent and decided to have a weekly conversation about owner handlers? How time has flown.
That's half a year, more than half a year. That's insane.
Yes, and the holidays and the end of the year shows are coming up. So, everyone, welcome to the 30th episode. As always, let us know where you're from, let us know your breed. And this week we thought we'd ask, have you been with us for all 30 episodes? Let us know if you've been here from the start. Let us know if you missed any episodes. And if you have missed any episodes, you can always find them. You can find them at showsitemagazine.com. You can also watch them on your television set. And if you have a handy voice activated remote control, as I do, you can kick back at the end of the day, Lee, and you can just say, YouTube Ring Ready Live. And guess what? We're going to show up in your living room or your bedroom or wherever your television set is. And I've
I guess
discovered
I don't
that.
watch enough TV, Dan. I did not know that.
Well, I don't watch any regular television, but I must admit I do watch YouTube because I guess I like to be my own program manager. I like to watch
There you
when I
go.
want on demand. So who knew that you can watch Ring Ready Live on demand as well? Well, I did, and I want to share that information with everyone. So there's many ways that you can watch our show, and as always, I want to thank everyone on behalf of Lee and myself and Showsite Magazine for being with us each and every week. I see that Megan is back, Lee, and Nora's here from Texas. Sharon is here. She says she's on the road from Atlanta to Wisconsin for the Badgerland Cavalier specialty. Sharon, thank you for listening to us, I'm assuming, or maybe you're in the passenger seat and you're watching us live. Megan is here. Hi, Megan. And Sue from California, Kathy from Washington State. We've got quite an army of owner handlers who join
Yes.
us every week, Lee, and let us know how long you've been with us. Maybe you're new, or maybe you have been with us since episode one. Um, Lee,
And it is an honor. There's so many successful owner handlers here, and um, very smart ones. And I've had the honor of working with some of you in my open classes. So thank you.
Lee, maybe we've got a few first time viewers, and if that's the case, welcome. And you're here with Dan Sayers with Showsite, Lee Whittier, the dog show mentor. Lee, for anyone who doesn't know, tell us a bit about the dog show mentor program, if you would, and how everybody can get in touch with you directly.
Uh, Dogshowmentor.com is the website, and you can always reach me, private message me through Facebook Messenger or Lee at dogshowmentor.com. Super simple. Uh, the program is 6 years old, and we are continually updating and changing and growing, and it's really exciting. If I might here just say that um, October is our anniversary month, and it's been Member Appreciation Month as well, where members get pop up options and gifts randomly offered on our private Facebook site. And in November, Documentor is announcing the new Dog Show Mastery
Mm.
program starting in January. So stay tuned. Those emails are going to go out the first of next week, and you'll be able to apply for that program.
So this is a new program, Leah. You and I have spoken about it a little bit. You are going to be taking applications for your new year-long mastery program.
Right.
So this is a serious commitment for owner handlers who want to be working with the Dog Show Mentor all year long. And only 10 applications will be
That's right.
accepted. Is that correct?
It is. It's a very exciting conceptual program and also extremely practical. But there's a lot of one-on-one time with me, and it's going to be uh, people who really want to go farther faster. It's an intensive program. So, yeah.
Well, let's encourage all of the seriously committed owner handlers who may have just heard about this invitation for the new mastery class to think about spending part of your year with Lee to go further and faster. I like that, Lee.
Yeah.
Definitely. I know that I've gone further and faster with you over these last 30 weeks. You know, I've been in the dog sport for a while, as you have. Sometimes you just think, well, I know my breed. I know how this goes. And then you get a new dog, a new puppy, and you realize, maybe I don't know all that I thought I did because every new puppy is a new project. And let's use that as a transition into this week's topic
Yeah.
because it is one about growth. And the question for everyone is, do you think your dog has a growth mindset? And if you do, what traits do you think your dog exhibits that make you think this? So, Lee, tell us a bit about growth mindset. Where does it come from? What is it? And what do we need to know about it?
Well, the Carol Dweck was the first person to really develop the concept of a growth mindset in people. And she proposed that there were two mindsets. One was fixed and one was growth. And they are pretty much what they sound like. It doesn't mean that you can't be successful if you have a fixed mindset. It just means that your success comes in different ways. The growth mindset talks about how your dog meets their challenges. Do they meet those challenges head on? And if your dog does shy away, are they spurred on by that? Do they think, oh, well, that looks odd, but let me see. Let me see if I could feel comfortable figuring this out. So it's really an exciting concept to apply to dogs, and I I decided a couple of months ago that this was an interesting way to theorize and approach um, how our dogs learn, why they learn, and why the concepts that have been put forth by people like Carmen Battaglia and Jane Messenio Lindquist, how those theories really work. Why do they work? And they work because we develop a dog's growth mindset. We actually can help that dog go from a fixed to a growth if we can recognize what's going on with our dogs.
That recognition is a huge component, isn't it? Because sometimes we see the dog who's maybe hesitating, who seems unsure. We may even label it fearful, when in reality, if we know what to look for, we may actually watch that dog grow, trying to figure out what is happening and how do I respond in a pleasing way to my person to this stimuli that's going on, whether it be a judge or a falling uh, tree limb.
Object,
You know,
right.
yes. And is it true that a growth mindset can vary in an individual dog? In other words, does a dog either have it or doesn't, or can you have a growth mindset in some applications?
Absolutely. It can vary. As in my observations, they can have for example, if you have a dog that has a growth mindset in agility, but a fixed mindset in conformation,
Hmm.
you can use that growth mindset in one area to develop it in another area. You just have to know what you're doing and understand your dog and the different ways that he says yes and the different ways that he says no, and recognize his body language
Mhm.
and his mindset. You have to recognize that and identify it. And that's why when we look at a litter of puppies and think about this, people who are breeders, or people who are owner handlers who have purchased a puppy, we can look at that litter of puppies and identify at such and such a week, say 49 days, or a little bit later, we can identify, well, this puppy has, the system that I use has a number system. This puppy has all threes, or this puppy has all fives. This puppy has all twos. That puppy, when they're put in a new home, or when they're developed more by the breeder, or by you, they change and grow and can become that great show dog. So the reason that I got started on this was I had a lot of people ask me, my dog is 2 years old and hates showing. Is it a lost cause, or can I do something about it? And the answer is, you absolutely can do something about it. Don't be discouraged. Let's get together and let's figure it out, what your dog is doing and how we can use mindset theory to help your dog grow and develop a passion for dog shows just like you have.
As the dog show mentor, your job is a coach, and that example that you just shared is one where you would coach the owner handler
Right.
in the problem, if you will, that they're having with their dog. You know, is it makes me think that sometimes we, the owner handler, have the fixed mindset, and that we think this dog at 2 years old is a lost cause, when in fact you, the coach, the dog show mentor, might be able to help us see that no, your dog has a growth mindset. In terms of confirmation, it is perhaps you that has the more fixed mindset.
Well, I
Would that be
might not
true?
actually say that, Dan, but we
I
might
say it.
get there. We might get there. But I want to be clear here. I'm not a dog behaviorist,
Hmm.
by any stretch, but I'm an experienced dog person. I can recognize certain behaviors and traits that are going on.
And that's really the key, to recognize it, right? Maybe not put a label on it immediately, but to recognize what's happening. In fact, this morning, there was an object that fell in my house, and my 9 month old puppy was startled by it, and she wouldn't go near it. It was actually a dog bed that was leaning up vertically, and it
Ah,
fell. And it fell in the upside down position. She'd never seen it that way. So I watched her, and she just was doing this, and she was really looking at it. I could tell that she was trying to make sense of it. So what I
yeah.
did was I encouraged an older dog to come, and this dog had to walk across that. And the puppy saw that. And then I gave all my love and attention to the older dog. And I watched as the puppy was kind of figuring out, all right, well, how do I get there? And it was really clever. She jumped on the furniture to see if she could jump over. She tried to see, could she run behind furniture and avoid it. Finally, after really 3 to 4 minutes, she just said, "Oh heck," and she walked right across it. And then she walked back over it. So it was really wonderful to watch this in action. And I realized she had a growth mindset. She was growing as she tried to problem solve. And I think
And
the key was is that I recognized that, and I allowed it to happen. Um,
exactly. You didn't try to make it happen. You let her puzzle it out. You allowed her the space that she needed to grow in that herself. And but the support still of having that older dog and having you still there, right?
yes, it was really helpful. Now let's go into the confirmation ring. Obviously, we don't have 3 to 4 minutes. Lee, you're given 2 point how many
Yeah.
minutes? Two point
And
four
and
minutes.
and not even that, really,
Not
not
even.
even
And
that.
so, again, I think that, were that to be the case with my puppy, I would sort of smile through it, and just encourage her. Maybe not force her, but maybe just allow her to understand that the sky isn't falling. We may not walk out a winner, but we're certainly not any worse for wear.
Well,
Would that be true?
your number one job in the ring is to support your dog's experience. That is the first and most important thing, is to
Yes.
support your dog's experience.
If you haven't taught us anything, Lee, and certainly you taught us an awful lot, but along with read your standards, being your dog's support at all times, but in the ring certainly is our responsibility, isn't it? It's our priority. And you're right. That goes in the ring, out of the ring, at home, on the street, in all instances. Um, Nora says here, and she's saying yes, yes, it can. I'm not quite sure what that is in response to, but Nora tells us that her lab was shy and had issues in the ring, but not now. She's worked hard to make him happy and confident. Now, her dog just needs a major. And Sharon says that this is why she loves taking her puppies into the 4 to 6 month beginner puppy. I had that experience with my puppy, and I must say that it was a wonderful experience for the dog, for myself, for the other exhibitors, for the judge. It really was a fun experience with no pressure whatsoever. And it was fun to watch all of the puppies sort of exhibit their growth mindset in that beginner puppy class. Thank you for that, Sharon. Um,
And as our dog's confidence grows, and we expose them to more and more challenges and guide them through to success, that experience feeds that growth mindset.
yes.
Um, it keeps translating into new and different experiences. And when you do, your dog gets, what can I say, more energy, right?
Hmm.
It's the energy that your dog brings to meeting that head on. When you get that dog to stand up over its front and look at whatever it is you want it to look at, when its tail is in the proper position, when you know that your dog is looking its best, because why? Because you've taught it and developed it, and you've taken other experiences and cross them over into growth. And that's what we're always looking for, not just for our dogs, Dan, as you pointed out, but for ourselves. And so, how can we grow? How can we, as people, go from being possibly overly competitive in a negative way to being properly competitive in a positive way? How can we get in there and be that warrior princess, right? And keep our dignity and our ethics intact.
As owner handlers, we're sharing the journey with our dogs, right? Every week, every day, all day. And if our mindsets together aren't growing, well, we're either staying still or we're going in reverse. Always a growth mindset. Is it fair to say that the growth mindset is a positive mindset, or is that just too obvious?
Oh, I think it's just, yeah. Christine says that there is a mindset and it can change with each age. Absolutely, Christine.
Yes.
But also, it doesn't change necessarily in the direction you want it to change unless you nurture it. And
So important.
Pamela's got a long one here. When we travel to shows and have a youngster, it's amazing how much they learn. Of course, just by watching the experienced dogs. Yep. Yep. They gain confidence much more quickly. Absolutely. They have they have two teachers. They have an older dog and they have you. And it does leave them more relaxed and ready to take on the ring. And also, we want them to develop that energy, right? We want that energy. And that comes through that growth that they develop, that growth mindset. How do they meet their challenges, right? It's how they, when you walk a dog up to an ex-pen of terriers all barking and growling at them, that they learn to stand there, right? They learn to stand there. Go. Hi. I mean, my
That's that
yeah.
that's a trick I'd like to teach my puppy, Lee. Don't bark back at the terriers.
Well, I can help you with that, Dan.
Oh, good. We'll talk. Thank you. Pamela, thanks for that. You are so right about that. And I want to point out that your competition, in fact, is bringing their dogs along in that very way. They're traveling in an RV, in a truck with other dogs. Your competition has the advantage, if you will, of all of those other canines to help it along. Maybe that's another reason why owner handlers like us, we should consider carpooling and joining forces with other owner handlers so that our dogs too can have that advantage of traveling with other older, more experienced dogs and learning from them. Julie says, Lee, that let's see, the first time that her dog went into the ring, he was jumping for joy from watching her older dog who was shown previously. Yeah, Julie, I think when you've been around a while and you've had a few show dogs of your own, yeah, if you're lucky, you've got older dogs that are going to be terrific mentors. Not the dog show mentor, but they will indeed be mentoring your new pup. Lee, you've got a new puppy. Can I ask how your older dogs are mentoring your new guy? You see a growth mindset in action?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Yes, it is. It is developing. It is developing.
Well,
He's a firecracker.
yeah. Well, your puppy has the advantage of being raised by the dog show mentor. How lucky is this dog? Or does that put a little more pressure on both he and the
Oh,
dog show mentor?
you know, well, two things. One, I want to acknowledge my co-breeder who raised him until a few months ago. So she did a lot of the early work, and she's
Yeah.
definitely focused on growth mindset. And yeah, of course, it puts pressure on me for the training and the presentation. But the other part of that is I just love doing it. So he's a puppy, and I go with what he does well, and when he doesn't do something well, we sort of, veer off and do the guide thing.
Yeah.
Um, there never, there's never a failure. There's never a failure, and that's what growth mindset teaches. Um, no failures.
I love that. Kelton has joined us. Hello. And he says the more positively you can bring a dog through any experience, the more well rounded and strong minded in a positive way they will be. It's good to teach them early and often, Lee, as you just said. And I remember my mom, he says, telling him that whatever energy you carry goes right down the lead to your dog. So make sure you're carrying a good positive energy and being a good sport and being strong for your dog. Lee, you've been saying that, right? Be I guess strong for your dog is one way of saying, or another way of saying, be that I don't know, Lee, how do you say it again? Just being the
Support your dog's experience in the ring.
there you
Number
go.
one. It's
You
the
heard
number
it
one job
here,
you
ladies and
have.
gentlemen. Sarah says that her dog was a COVID puppy and it was a struggle to make sure that he was ready for the ring. He's an Avivan hound, and she was always worried about fear periods, but her dog was always curious and willing to take on anything. So she made sure that he was exposed to people in different surroundings with problems he needed to solve, and now he thrives at shows and out.
Yeah, and so I want to say a little bit about that fear period, and that is sort of a fixed mindset. But the thing about dogs when they exhibit the no under any circumstances no is it's important to listen when it's a real no and
Mm,
to identify when it's a not right now. Um, and and I personally, each puppy has its own level fear period. So we can't just go by weeks, and that's something that my friend Jane developed, Jane Lindquist, um, about actual fear periods. But I'm really identifying moment to moment and segment to segment. So when I say segment, I mean conformation ring, uh, barn hunt, scent work, agility, rally, obedience, all those areas, and how that dog approaches that kind of work. Is that fun for him? And it is. It's essential to keep things fun for you and your dog. And it is a tenet of Dog Show Mentor, by the way.
Dog Show Mentor has many worthwhile tenets, a lot of Dog Show Mentorisms, as I think you've called them in the past. Becoming a member is certainly going to gain you entree into the community where you have access. We've said it before, but Lee, this is just 30 minutes each week that we have to spend with owner handlers together. But as you said early at the beginning of this and every show, there are so many other ways to take advantage of your experience and your coaching efforts. I was thinking as you were talking about the fixed mindset, or those moments where the dog is sort of struggling, if you will, or reacting or overreacting. And I
Or
often
just
notice,
thinking. Or
or
just
just think,
thinking.
yeah. And a lot of times I've heard through the years that owner handlers will say, oh, when he was a puppy, a tent flapped, or, a crate crashed, or a dog scared him. And that happened maybe 5 years ago. And the owner handler will often bring that up again over and over and over again.
Mm.
I'm often thinking that if you're still telling that story 5 years on in front of your dog, I wonder, perhaps you don't have the growth mindset where this is concerned. And if you don't, how on earth can you expect your dog, who looks to you for all support, how can you expect him? Is it unfair to sort of snap that label on a dog and say, well, the sky fell on June 30th of 2009 and that's it, let's call it a day. Is that fair? And in your experience, is that fair to the dog?
I think it's I think it's a great point, Dan, and it's obviously not fair. But, I had that happen, and I just found a different way to work through it with agility until it was fun
Mm,
enough for her and she gained the confidence to come back. And she really had a pretty fixed mindset. And it
mm,
was a lot of work to bring her along. But we did it and she got her championship and she's a beautiful bitch and she lived to be 17. Um,
yeah.
and she just loved life and everything was fun for her. But yes, I think you can work almost any dog. Now, look, and I just want to say, when you said owner handlers, I thought you were going to say something else. And what I want to say is, when you have a dog that's 2 years old and or has been in the ring for 2 years and hates showing, and a lot of people say, "Oh, I can't do this anymore," and give it to a handler, and then the handler, professional handler, that is, will take the dog and work with it for 6 months and make it into a multiple destined show dog. And how do they do that? You've had the dog for 2 years and you can't do anything, but they take the dog in 6 months, they get inside their head. And that's what they do. And they do it without even recognizing what they do, right? And that's what I'm getting at here. And by the way, in my most recent article in Showsite Magazine, I talk about this. And what the quality handlers, the professional handlers are doing is getting inside that dog's head through understanding what makes them tick and giving them a little bit of time here and then letting off and giving them a little time and letting off. And even if that dog has a fixed mindset, by the time that person gets done with them, they will be working well within that mindset or beyond. So fixed doesn't mean you can't accomplish anything. And I just want to make this one last point. For example, an owner handler or a professional handler in both of these categories may have a fixed mindset and may not realize it. And so what they may do is they may see challenges as being something that you can't go beyond. So they only finish dogs, and they may finish a lot of dogs. They may finish 50 dogs or more, but they don't really do much group winning or best in show winning because they haven't expanded that horizon. So it doesn't mean they can't be successful, and they may be perfectly happy being successful finishing 50 dogs that they're breeding, right? Or 50 dogs that people have given them. So there's room for that in dog shows. You don't have to be somebody who wants to go on farther than that. You just need to be successful within the realm that you consider important to you. So a lot of breeders consider champions more important than group wins. So that's just one segment of how being in a fixed mindset isn't necessarily a bad thing. It just gives you a different opportunity to be successful in a different way.
Thank you for that, Lee. Thanks for digging a little deeper and sort of fleshing out that concept of fixed. Fixed does not mean hopeless. Fixed just means maybe there's growth yet to
Different
come.
parameters, right? Different parameters.
And I'm so glad that you mentioned your current Ring Ready column in Showsite Magazine in the October issue. Everyone, if you haven't got a hard copy in your hands, you can go online at showsitemagazine.com, go to Ring Ready. You can read Lee's current article about this very topic, the growth mindset. And Lee, next week, we're going to be talking about a subject that is in my current Ring Ready column in the October issue. And that is the subject of, wait for it, bait. Question. Are you using bait correctly? Should you use it at all? When can you use it? And folks, if you tune into our show next week, you're going to be in luck because not only is Lee Whittier the dog show mentor, she's also a multiple group judge. And she sees, from the judge's point of view, what bait is doing, both on the plus side and on the negative side for your dog. Sometimes bait is not always the answer. So Lee is going to dive into that in greater detail next week.
So be sure to read Dan's article before we come on here, right?
Yes. And hopefully after you've read my article and listened to next week's show, you're going to maybe improve your use of bait. You may even find that for some dogs, you may discover that the bait has really not helped you out at all and that you can do just fine without it.
Ooh,
Not
yeah.
not with every dog, but you might find that that's the case. Maybe a toy is going to work a whole lot better. But bait can be as much of a crutch as it can be a reward for your dog. So
yeah, next week, ask me what Walter used to do with the really hard Rottweilers that he used to show in the ring for bait.
All right, I will be asking you that question. Can't wait to hear the answer. And for all of you who are going to join us next week, let us know what you're using for bait, and let us know if you've got any stories where bait maybe was not the best tool in your toolbox in the ring on a particular day. So anyway, Lee, this has been a really informative show. Maybe as informative or more informative than some of our past shows, because you've applied a theory that is in use in human psychology, applying it to the canine in a way that is novel and is certainly helping me. As always, at the end of our show, I just want to grab a lead, get my puppy, and get to work. I hope that all of you feel likewise as motivated to work with your dogs. If you are planning to be at shows in the final 2 months of the year, be sure to reach out to us. Reach out to Megan, who is your customer relations manager. She's headed to Orlando, as I hope many of you are. We will be there as well to say hello to you. But if you are planning to compete, reach out to Megan. She can help you with all of your celebratory and advertising needs. So,
oh, And if I could add here that the Vancouver Kennel Club in Vancouver, Washington is this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and we will have Show Site magazines on site. So if you didn't
Wonderful.
get yours, you can get one there.
Wonderful. And our magazines are available at most shows. They'll certainly be available in Orlando and in the shows leading up to it. So, when is that date of the Vancouver show again,
It's a
Lee?
29, 30, and 31, so it's Halloween shows, and we've
Wonderful.
invited people to wear black and orange, and hopefully some people will have some tasteful, Halloween costumes as well.
Yes, I suspect you're going to see a few dogs in costume as well. I'm not sure when that trend started, but it certainly has taken off. And if you go into any pet supply store, you're going to see a Halloween section filled with costumes. Who knew? Anyway, it sounds like fun. So let's wish everyone a happy Halloween, a happy All Saints Day, Day of the Dead, etc. It's a very festive, fun time of year
It
for
is.
everyone. So we're looking forward to seeing all of you at shows upcoming and in Orlando as well. Lee, thank you again for joining me here at Ring Ready Live again. And thanks to all of you who have joined us. Hopefully, some of you have been here 30 episodes. And if you'd like to see all 30 episodes, pick up your remote, sit down in front of your TV at home. Just say YouTube Ring Ready Live, and Dan
And
and
binge
Lee. Oh,
watch.
yeah. And binge watch Dan and Lee at Ring Ready Live. So until next week, remember to have fun with your dogs, everyone.
See you in the winner's circle. Bye, everybody.
Bye bye. Happy Halloween, Peg. Julie.